Sabrina is a real OG.
She really is.
Player out here. I
her.
was peeping that on here because I'm like, she know her, but ain't trying to have no kids. And she did not get offended by the fact that, whatever he was saying, because he was just fumbling all over the place. But she was like, well, what do you want right now? And I just love that question because, like, yeah, you saying all that, but what do you want? Do you want to do this or not? And he's like, I want you. And I'm like, yeah, you want her.
You want her.
But you don't want to be with her.
Exactly.
Because you want some kids. So. Hello, and welcome to the Bold Black Girls Ready to Love recap with no cap. We are recapping season 5, episode 6, Second Shot at Love of Ready to Love. My name is Aries.
And I am Kim.
And we have another week of eliminations.
16.
And was it elimination? Oh, yeah. I was like, was it elimination this week? It was. The guys are in power this week. They have the power to eliminate. And so now they are going to date someone who they have not made a connection with yet, just to make sure before they decide.
Right. And that deserves a second chance. He said, wow, looking for a ride or die. I was like, please stop using ride or die.
I know they really, Tommy uses
because we're dying because of these folks.
I ain't dying on these Negroes.
I'm not saying, I'm saying people are.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm like, we need to reject. I'm
done with the ride or die.
Reject. Walter says he needs to find someone. He wants to find someone where their his heart, mind, and genitals agree. So, it's a lot of people making sure that the sex is what
the attraction is there.
So the first date that we saw was a pedicure date with Zadia and Walter.
I like that.
You like their date?
I would do it. I'm totally like self-care pedicure. This honestly, it gives you an opportunity to really have a conversation, because some people go to the movies, you're not talking, you're not engaging.
Yeah.
And I can see body language.
I've done a pedicure date twice. And that was cool, because you just talk, laugh about the whole thing and whatnot. Usually it's going to be
a date, but I met up with someone to have a pedicure that was not a female.
That's a date.
I don't know if that's a date.
But was it a date?
No, it wasn't a date. It was like, we're going to.
You just met up with a dude
to
have a pedicure.
Yep.
Okay. And he was just a friend.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
well, I've definitely done a pedicure date.
We might need to define date too.
It was a date.
We really need to define a lot. Like, we need to define
date is y'all are
to love, being dateable.
Yeah,
we have some criteria we need to go over in our community.
We do.
Because folks ain't really ready to love because they're barely ready to date.
They're not ready to love themselves. That's a whole thing. We ain't about to go there right now. Maybe we'll come up with this later in this episode. We
might need to have a therapist on about being ready to date and ready to. That's actually
we are actually. We'll bring it to you back. Talk about dates. So go check out our regular episodes of the podcast, and you'll see we do talk about some of this stuff. Walter says he wants family and he wants to create traditions.
I like it. And that's a value, because she asked him, Zadia, I like Zadia.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked Zadia from the get-go in her interactions for the most part. And she asked him, what do you value? And I think that's a question, with the love, what's your love language? But yeah, what do you value? Because you could be with someone who does not value family. And that's your core value.
Yeah, well, Walter admitted basically that he was effing up with his late wife because he said how his friend told him, you got a good one over there. And that's usually when you're out here in these streets acting a fool, saying, don't mess this up. That's what it sounded like to me.
And let me just point out 2 things. One, he had someone in the community that was holding him accountable. Okay. So you need that, men and women.
Friends, real friends.
And 2, his whole experience, he now looks at life totally different. We take for granted sometimes that people are going to be here always. So love them and treat them right while they're here, because you don't know when their last day or your last day is here.
That is so true. That's really been a big theme, I know, just for us in our lives in the last month or so. With Walter, I still have him. My first analysis of him is that he's an F-boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he's been really revealing and open in these dates. where it doesn't come off like F-boyish, so he could be like a real elite,
like his undercover.
He's on the elite level mastery on the F-boyness, but Zadia says, I'm just trying to get chose, which I didn't like that.
I didn't either. She said white toes get you chose. I'm like,
that's what that
ain't true, because I had white toes. That's a lie.
And so she's like, I'm just trying to get chose. And he says, men don't choose women choose men. And I'm like, that is kind of true. I mean, and here's the thing. See, that's why I say he's an elite level F-boy, because that's basically like a pimp thing.
True.
So when you hear that song where he said, I'm trying to get chose, because the chicks, I'm gonna say chicks to lack for not context. Saying their job title, but they're the ones choosing who they want to represent them.
That is true.
And that was a part of the game, out here in these gangster streets that I know nothing about.
And he wants to know if Zadia is going to choose him.
Yeah. So he was feeling Zadia. And she seemed to feel him.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So we'll see what that looks like. I don't know. I don't feel like they're necessarily a match. I don't see them together, like visually.
I don't either.
But you never know. Might work out.
And he wants kids, and she does too, because I think on this show, that has really been a question that's come up,
hasn't it?
Quite a bit more than any other season.
I agree. Like. And they're older.
They are.
I feel like, are they older?
It's really a mix, but they're more older season people.
Yeah, I'm like, it seems like there's a lot more older people in this season.
And a lot of them don't want children.
But the men want children. That's the thing. I'm like, y'all are too old to be out here trying to own kids.
And some should just
but that's just me. Who was next?
So next was Sabrina and Sean. So his connection with Aisha was probably a little shaky, especially after she shared that she was not looking for children, right? And that is something that is at the forefront for him is, do you want children?
But is it because you're 46?
He's 44.
44, and y'all, okay. I just have to say this.
Go, please say it. Tell the people.
These men that are old, and then you're like, you know what? I'm now ready to get me a child. You could have had a child 20 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. You didn't want to. It's plenty of women out here that you probably could have wifed up, booed up, whatever, never. You didn't want to. You wanted to be out here in these here streets. That's what's happening. And then you want to try to guilt a woman who is the same age as you, who's like, bruh, I'm done. I already had my kids. I'm not having any more.
And at that age for women, that also poses a risk, not only for the mother, but
after
also 35. For the child.
After 35. Yeah, once you're 35, that is considered advanced maternal age. You have to get a what is that called when they stick that needle in your stomach? Amino something like that. It's a lot more for you to have to do that. And
again,
it's a part, like the reason why is because life progresses. You should, like, I'm not saying that you can't have kids later in life and all that, but your body tells you why. That's why they talk about a biological clock. It is ticking. Okay. And there is a reason why that it's ticking for the woman to start moving into her next phase. She might be into, what's it called? The premenopausal or something. That's you. They're in the range. That's about to start.
Up here having babies. I mean, if we can be real too, like when you get older, when you have children, you need energy.
I'm 42. I'll tell you right now, ain't no way in hell I would have a baby. I'm sorry.
Getting ready. Can you imagine trying to get another person ready in a car seat?
I'm just happy that my kids know how to get up, take a shower, wipe their butts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really do anything for them, to be honest with you.
They're more self-sufficient.
I don't want to stop. Do you know how much that? No, I'm sorry.
I would need to be in therapy for that.
Ain't enough therapy in the world. I need a live-in nanny who's going to literally take care of that child. Like, that would be the only, and so he better have a whole bunch of money, and we need to pay her in advance. Because you're going to need to take care of the child for the first 10 years.
And that's the other thing. Then they want you to have the kids. Now, sir, are you going to have the energy to help?
Child, please. They ain't doing nothing. anyways, you're not about to get as much energy. But anyway, we digress.
That's another podcast.
So he puts it out there to Sabrina that he does want kids, and also saying that he likes her and wants to get to know her. I think he's playing the game. I think he's also like, he does like her and he's attracted to her physically, sexually, all those things. So when she's like, well, what do you want right now? Because she wasn't, see, Sabrina is a real OG.
She really is.
Player out here. I was peeping that on here because I'm like, she know her, but ain't trying to have no kids. And she did not get offended by the fact that, whatever he was saying, because he was just fumbling all over the place. But she was like, well, what do you want right now? And I just love that question because, like, yeah, you saying all that, but what do you want? Do you want to do this or not? And he's like, I want you. And I'm like, yeah, you want her.
You want her.
But you don't want to be with her.
Exactly.
Because you want some kids. So he's trying to keep her around, say he wants a second date. But I think it's a part of the game.
And I think, she does say she's done with, wanting children. He did say he wanted a second date, right? I think I don't know why he wants a second date.
Because he just doesn't want to. This is again the case of an F-boy that wants to look like a nice guy. You don't want to say, this is really, because he almost stuck to his guns early in, like, this is kind of what I want.
That's a non-negotiable.
Yeah. And then, but at the end, you couldn't stick to it. You couldn't just be like, nah, I'm good. I want to be definitive, but at the same time, I like you. So let's go on another day. Nah, so you're trying to, that's that dragging.
You're dragging me along.
Yeah, you're dragging. And, it's a game show. Oh, yes. Next, we had Phil and Aisha.
So
and
number one, I love Phil. He gives me teddy bear vibes.
He does give teddy bear vibes.
He's
in tune. He's aware.
He really is. And he seems to be so, to me, from what I can get from what he's projecting, is authenticity.
Okay.
And being genuine, like during the entire time.
Yeah. I think he's carried himself
consistent as well.
Yeah. And so he had a conversation with Aisha about why she really doesn't want kids. And she talks about how she had a hard time with pregnancy and she had some miscarriages and she really doesn't want to fail. And she got very vulnerable. She cried. He was there for her. He comforted her, which I just think was awesome. I had one time with one of the loves of my life, where we had like reconnected after some years and we went to dinner and I was sitting across from him at this restaurant and he tells me that he had just asked his girl's dad for her hand or whatever, like he had a chick. And because this was kind of like a goodbye, like a see you later, like dinner thing where it was just like, I apologize for all these things. Like, let's just close the door, and just make sure that we're good. And we're, it was one of those kind of things. So I wasn't expecting him to tell me that he had just proposed to his girlfriend's dad, asked the dad.
Hand in marriage.
And when I tell y'all that my body, now, number one, I'm a thug. So I ain't gonna be out here crying.
That's why I'm listening to this.
I'm like, I'm a thug. I ain't about to be out here crying. I'll be like, nope, I'm gonna be like this, and this. And I'm gonna say my body betrayed me. It betrayed me. I literally just tears. It felt like they just shot out of my eyeballs. And I remember that when she had that white towel napkin up, I feel like that's what I remember. Not like
what did he do?
He was like, oh my God, like, cause he had never seen me cry either, and like did that same kind of thing, like what, I was like, I am so sorry. Oh my God. This is embarrassing.
Not the thug.
But yes, I was very
Thugs and Harmony right here.
I was like, I don't know why this happened.
Emotion.
But inside, I think I was really hurt by that. I mean, I was like, it's for real final. Like, it's final, final. So I get it. I mean, I like Aisha. I feel like she's been super vulnerable and like very, just free with her.
Transparent and direct.
Yes.
She tells you she loves her kids. She loves being a wife. Mm-hmm. Right. She even said she does not put her children's food on a paper plate.
I was like, child, you better than me because they be paper plate eating all the time.
Well, we go back and forth, but we eat off of plates too. But it's, it's just us.
Yeah. I'm like, child.
So you can tell she's domesticated. She wants to be a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done it before, right? And that still is there for her.
Yeah, it wasn't something that she wanted to not be. She wanted to still be married if she could have been, you know. So that was a good little moment for them. I think they've definitely touched the surface. I mean, they cracked the surface on the lie.
Girl, and I was
they
like,
got deep,
and
they've been talking.
Bear.
And they've been talking, so that was really good.
And I think on the other one of the previous episodes, like she got a flat tire.
Yeah, they talked about that.
It wasn't like, to me, it probably wasn't like a Corey.
Right. No. But they were already gonna connect. And so when that happened, you know, he just checked on her and made sure she was good and all that stuff. So I like that.
I did too.
Next up. Naeem and Camille.
No, I like Naeem.
I like Naeem as well.
So him and Phil have very great emotional intelligence, in my opinion. And Naeem, first off, he's like body language. He wasn't really feeling her.
Yeah.
Right. And those awkward noises that she makes.
She's weird.
She's crazy, is what I wrote.
Yeah. She was like, feed me. He was like,
and she initially said that she knew on this date she wasn't feeling anyone other than that one person, right? Cornelius.
She's so crass. Like she's like, he wasn't getting no coochie. I'm like, first of all, you said coochie. Coochie. I'm sorry. That word does not come out of my mouth, y'all.
Right.
This is probably the first time I've said this word in like years. The fact that she said it, so she's so immature to me.
I agree.
Which is why her kids in the class probably think she's younger than she really is, because you are immature, not because you just look so young. You're very immature.
And she just was, you could tell she was there, but she wasn't.
It's like, you're just asking all these fire questions that are pretty direct for a first date.
Like, I was going to say the same thing. The one about the son.
What role would you be in my son's life? And how much money you make a year?
Is it 6 figures?
I was like, he was done with her after that.
Yeah, he was absolutely done. And I loved how he stood his ground and he did not answer the question.
He was like, all right, well,
like, so you're not going to answer the question? He's
let's
like, I am
cheers. He's like, let's get out of here.
And I do not blame him.
And I'm going to say something mean.
Go ahead.
I'm about to say something very mean. She's not cute enough to be acting like this. And that is so mean, but it reminded me of my grandmother, because she'd be like, because she always talk about people having a good personality. Like, you know, she's like, she is not cute enough to be having no bad personality. And that's so mean. It is mean. I'm sorry, y'all, but it's what came in my mind. I'm just being honest. She makes it seem like she's just like this drop dead gorgeous person. I think people look at her body. It's beautiful, great body, all that, but like, you ain't all that. And even if you was, like, it's not cool, you know, just to be having a stank attitude, but you're not. I just need to point that out.
Right. She acts very entitled.
Yeah, she definitely comes off like, I don't know where she
gets this entitlement from.
Y'all just need to be happy to be here. Give me all your answers. I need to know what's going on with you, even though you got all this debt that you're trying to.
Girl, I was thinking the same thing. Like, sweetheart, worry about what you have going on. What do you bring to the table as well?
I was like, girl, you're doing the most. You don't even know how to get to know anybody. Like, these are the questions that you ask on the first date. Like, what role you gonna be in my son? Like, first of all, he like, not trying to be your son's daddy. Calm down. That was just,
I don't even know if I'll play a role in your life. So let's just start there.
Like she said, do you want kids? He was like, first, I'm trying to get the relationship. Let's just start with the relationship part. Which I appreciated that answer. I mean,
Jesus.
I feel like that's what people need to start doing more of, instead of just being like, yeah. Because you might realize, you know what? I'm not tripping
about
after having kids. Right. Yeah, you might not even care. And maybe the person that you fall in love with can't have kids or something like that.
Because that is very possible.
Yeah. And then you just are like, you know what? We're good. Or we might adopt, or we might, you know, whatever. Just being flexible. That's the better way, I think, to approach it, especially at this age. Like, you have to have it in your mind being like, I may not get that the way that I thought I was going to get it, you know? So, you know, maybe some of these women might be willing to adopt.
Exactly. Like you said, I might not get it the way that I think that I was going to get it. Like you said, it could be in the form of adoption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, speaking of a lot of kids.
Lord.
We had a group date.
Yes. So Dante. Sabrina, Frank,
yeah,
and Moomin.
Moomin. Yeah.
Moomin.
Is it Moomin or Moomin? I feel like I should have it by now. But Moomin. I'm gonna say Moomin. They went to mini golf.
Swingers.
Yeah, I was like, that's an interesting.
That's
name.
A very interesting name. I was like, I'm gonna go there when I go to DC. Swingers.
Swingers. It was interesting because Moomin and Dante were connecting, and then Sabrina came and snatched him up.
She said she's gonna get her some 101 time with.
She was like, "Let's go." I was like, "Wow!" Obviously, Moomin wasn't really tripping. Her and Frank have been talking every day, and
she likes his vibe.
Yeah, she said I'd follow him, and I was like, "I'll be watching that. You gotta be careful. Where are you following him to? You feel like he gonna take you somewhere good? Where are he taking you?"
I think he talks a very good game. I'm still trying to feel him out. Like he always knows, he always has the right things to say to everyone, really.
I think he's definitely playing the game.
He did admit he's a very hypersexual person.
Yeah, and being that she does not want to have sex before marriage, that's gonna be a problem, right?
Or concern.
And I think that women need to be realistic with this. 9 times out of 10, if the man is not initiating it or also practicing abstinence, you're giving up the cooch. I'm just gonna put that out there. If they're not on the same page, right, then they talking about they willing away. Okay, now we're back in another Jason and Liz situation. Who was it? It was somebody else too, where they just be acting like they're gonna be like that, and then they'll be over here. They said that now this is a rumor, and I just heard it the other day, that Jason might have had a baby on her. What? And I need to find out. I just saw it in like 2 different places the other day when I was looking up. Liz had just posted something on her Instagram or Twitter, can't remember which one, saying basically officially saying they're not together anymore. And, she's looking for her. She's hoping, she'll find her person or something like that. Wow. And I was like, we already said that.
It was just a matter
Watch
of time.
Our episodes. Y'all would have known. But yeah, I don't never, it's hard to trust that when, and there, of course, there's exceptions to the rules and men might wait just because that's what their women wanted. But most of the time, especially somebody talking about they're hypersexual. You saw how he was with Aisha up in that photo booth, and he grabbed her face and had that tongue over there. I said, "Oh no, he gonna get what he wants
from somewhere, from
he
somebody.
Gonna get it the way he did the lady in the trunk with Moomin on the date." I'm like, y'all might as well start kissing.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, oh, he gonna get some of that.
But let's go back to Sabrina and Dante. They seem to be vibing. He gets a little, well, I'm not saying he's vulnerable, but he does share that he has 3 children by 3 different women. And that he's judged by that.
He wants someone that has sympathy for his situation. So
I'm like, can we get a woman with 3 kids with 3 different dads on here?
They had that chick.
Did she really? But I don't know if she had 3 different dads.
I think she had multiple dads. I think she definitely said she had multiple dads.
I want the same persona for a woman to be on this show.
Why is this? And I'm not trying to be mean, but I am mean. Obviously, I've been acting mean this whole episode. It's just that
he wants sympathy.
Why is this the dating pool? I'm not saying that look, I've been divorced twice. Listen. Okay. I was married at a very young age, got divorced, got married again, got divorced. I have 2 kids by one person. It was really big for me to not have multiple baby daddies.
Correct.
Which is another reason I was not wanting to have no more kids once I got divorced. I was still young enough I could have had more kids, but I was like, nah, we ain't about to do the multiple
different daddy pickup schedule.
I've lived that life with my sister. Like, right. I have a sister, me and her have different dads, and it is different. It is an experience that I don't think that people need to think about how that's going to affect their kids, And a man who has 3 kids with 3 different women, you are spread. You already barely probably there when it's 1. I mean, not to say that it ain't a black man thing. I'm just talking about in general, because usually the kids are going to live with the mom and you're going to be getting them periodically, unless you live like right down the street and you over there just.
And he is not down the street.
Active.
He is not down the street. He said
they're in Chicago, right?
Yeah, they're in Chicago. He left for a woman to go to DC. That's a red flag. So you did not consider your children. And for me, I had 1 child. I was not married, but I knew I did not want to have multiple children by multiple men. And I said to myself, you're not going to do that. And I was like, okay, if I get married, I'll be open to it. But in the back of my head, I really didn't want to do that.
And here's my thing. I'm not knocking him and saying he can't get love or any of that.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, in Ready to Love world, why is he a part of the dating pool that we're presenting out in this show?
Yes.
It should be like the top bachelors of DC. Like, yes. Is this
the upper echelon?
This is what we're working with in the top.
And I guess they say, well, this is the reality. So maybe this is reality than what we're dealing with.
I just feel like there has to be better
GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy.com. Okay.
I don't know.
Honestly, I have dated someone who had multiple children by multiple women. He was quite stretched. And honestly, it's like you can't.
I really liked him too.
Anywho, you can't, to me, sometimes give so much because you're over here, you're over here, and then when do you have time for yourself?
Just like with this Nick Cannon situation where he has all these kids, 7 kids or something right now, working on his 8th. You can't be there. There's gonna be holidays. Household. You're not gonna be there for everybody's Halloween. You ain't gonna be there for everybody's Christmas. You're not gonna be there for everybody's recitals. You just can't be all those places. The calendar gets filled up with just regular family stuff.
Where remember y'all the Upshaws on Netflix? How their birthdays collided.
the ghetto twins.
Yes, the ghetto twins, and he's trying to go to this birthday party that is scheduled on the same day.
You can't do it, y'all. I mean, you can. I ain't gonna say you can't, but what I have a problem with is really the Ready to Love world. Like, why this is
so no shade, Dante. You know, life.
I hope he finds what he needs.
Yeah, everybody deserves love,
but yeah, I just was wondering why this has been the thing. He said he don't have no drama, but I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I work really hard on my co-parent relationship, and we be having lightweight drama. It ain't even drama, but it'd be like there's some you're gonna have a conflict,
some type of conflict.
Yeah, and so you got 3 different people that you're trying to do this with. No, I'm working real hard for one, girl. Let alone 3.
That would drive me insane.
And her daughter's dad hasn't been around at all. Sabrina. Now you're gonna bring a man in who has 3 kids all over the place, and what is he gonna be doing? Because he ain't about to be here either.
And it's my thing. If you're not there for your kids, your own flesh and blood, red flag for me. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play. So next we had Sean and Cecilia. Not a connection. Let me just throw that out there. They're not a connection. Night and day personalities.
2 different generations.
He's about, they were talking about the church and being religious and spiritual and all this and that. And he's like, I need to get back better in that area, whatever. And she's like, what's your denomination and everything? And they getting into the nitty gritty, the Black Baptist
Church. Substance here.
And he's like, I was raised by people like that. I've gone to school people like that. And I'm like, sir, is she like a caricature to you? Because you could tell like that's not your world.
Yes.
You're kind of feeling like, oh yeah, okay, I'm down with the Black Baptist or whatever. And it's like, you ain't ready to see a child. That lady was on her best behavior on that day.
She did. That was one of her best interactions though, honestly.
It was. I think you better find a connection up in here and quit playing.
I was like, she got it together.
So she was trying to be nice. Giggling and sniggling.
What she said, let the games win and the best woman win.
What did she let the games begin
and let the best woman win?
Right. I was like, oh, nah, it ain't at that level yet.
But I don't see her connecting with anybody else.
She didn't connect with him.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long she lasts. Who was next? Courtney and Cornelius went rum tasting. She basically was doing the most on this date. She was flirting. She was being very pushy. He was pushing back on her flirt, her little flirt moves. He talked about waiting to have sex before marriage, waiting till marriage to have sex. She talks about how she's a sexual person. This is like the Frank and Mumin conversation, basically.
So Courtney need to go with Frank. Mumin needs to get with Cornelius because Camille needs to be gone.
Yeah, and then she goes into this whole thing about I don't know how you feel about dating a boss. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? People be doing the most, y'all. Like, what are you? I make stuff happen. I'm like, who are you? What are you talking about? You're putting 2 on the 10. That's too much.
She comes off as and she said it. She's like she's aggressive, like the Leo lion.
She's I would have to call her aggressive. Like when Tyrone called Carrie aggressive, he was wrong.
Exactly.
Wrong,
she was
wrong.
assertive.
This is aggressive. When you have your hand on this man's crotch, rubbing something down there. And guess what, Mr. Cornelius? You keep letting her put her hands down there and she's going to be rubbing something else and you're going to slip.
Right.
Accidentally. Remember, he said you can slip up. That's what the slip up would be looking.
That doesn't happen.
Get that Holy Spirit as an extra dose. So it felt like that date was before the elimination of Corey because she mentioned about remember when they were at the gentleman's lounge when Corey was talking about how he got her flowers and did all that and how he wanted to distinguish himself. And then when Cornelius talked, he said, yeah, she told me that the ball's in my court and if I want to take the shot, but she just said that on this date. So I don't know if that was recorded before or if she just repeated what she said, right? Because he said that on this date that, she did say on this date about like the ball making the shot in the gym or something like that. I don't know, some line she had. So I was like, I wonder if that was recorded before and then they just played it. And I don't know, but she looks to be struggling this week and just even in her whole demeanor. I don't know. I just was something about her on that date that I was kind of like, I don't like what you're doing because it really comes off perverty. It comes off just like how we would say with the guys that are like, he's trying to wait until marriage. Like, why are you pressing up on this? And how long would I have to wait? And girl, this is not a match for you. I know what I want. What you gonna do, rape the man? I mean, come on. He said he don't want to have sex. Now get your butt out of here, girl. So that was bothering me.
Yeah, she did seem to be a little bit off, and like I don't know if it was before or after Corey, but it definitely is like desperate vibes too.
Yeah, because who else? She didn't have any other connections.
Not really
anybody else that she had, and that's sad that Corey was like your main person. That's not good. Not good. So they go back to the gentleman's lounge and they go do their debrief on who they were liking. Walter gave good reviews on his date with Zadia. Phil gave great reviews on Aisha. He said that Shiloh is also still at the top of his list of connections. Sean mentioned Sabrina and Cecilia, but I'm like, that means you have no connections and you'll be gone out of here soon. Next. Because that's a none. That's not happening. Dante said he liked Shiloh and Zadia. And it was funny watching some of the guys get jealous a little bit about other people's connections.
Walter with Sabrina.
Walter
was not like that. He said he was uncomfortable with that.
He said physically uncomfortable. When I think was it Dante said he had a good when Dante was mentioning the date with Sabrina.
Yes. I'm like, look at Walter over here getting territorial.
He was like, I ain't really like that, but I can't get mad. And then Frank mentioned that they had a good time. Let me see. Cornelius threw Courtney under the bus at this point. He basically was like, I wasn't feeling that. I'm telling her this and no. And other people were saying they weren't feeling Courtney as well.
And Dante said he isn't feeling Cecilia.
Naeem told about the Camille situation. Like, this chick is doing the most. And so he wasn't feeling that. And Sean also said he did not get good vibes from Camille when he first met her, when they were at the pool that day when she was giving a steak face.
Yes. And everyone mentions her body language and just that body language is key too.
Yeah, so they decided that Dante is going to take Camille out and Walter is taking Courtney out. And Camille, I can't with her. I really, really wanted her to go home.
I did too, but really drama sells.
But then there was a point in the conversation that said she ain't going nowhere. She's not going nowhere. She's not going home. And I was watching it live on YouTube.
Oh, what?
So I don't know how I found this channel, but like it was on Friday night and they were airing it live on this YouTube page. And so it was a live chat going and everybody was like, she ain't going home, y'all. Watch, she ain't going home.
And she wasn't.
And I was like, oh my gosh, she might not actually go home. Like, this is not cool. Even with her acting, the way she's acting right now, they need to give them, this is what I thought of in this moment while she's on the date with Dante. I said, they need to give Dante some power to where if she gets to acting stupid, you could eliminate her ass.
Right.
Like, make her get out of here. Even if that wasn't who you was going to eliminate right then, be like, you know what? Well, you can go. Like, they should give them some type of like, if she acts stupid on this date, you can fire her.
What they need to give is some damn personality tests so we can see, and some mental check-in.
They want this drama, apparently. I think they like the mix of the different people. Exhausting. It's a lot going on. She said that she I think she felt like she was going to get eliminated. She kind of came in with a little attitude that we could have did a Zoom. Right.
Like, ma'am,
she is so much. She's like, hurry up, because I got a class at 9. So let's pick this up. Let's get the that's why I was like, you're fired.
She is okay. Rude.
You know what? Yep. You know what? You're gonna get to class early tonight because you're out of here. Have a good day. You ain't got to worry about it.
Let's wrap this up. You're eliminated.
Right. She's like, I wasn't feeling him. So when I ain't feeling nobody, I don't want to have to deal with it. And I'm like,
girl, I was like, she has shown her.
Yeah, she definitely did.
Twice with Naeem and then here with Dante.
And then Walter,
she was
terrible. She was terrible. So Walter takes Courtney out and they have, a chat on
she's excited about the date. I don't think
she was saying that she was excited. She wasn't excited. She didn't have a connection with Walter. She just was like, seeing what he talking about. You don't want that old man. She's 30 years old or something. He 46, child, please. That's not. He's your daddy age.
This is true.
So no, she's not feeling him. So, and he knew that, and he pointed that out with her, letting her know that we were out on a double date and you was all up on Cornelius, so you wouldn't even think about me. And that's how it is. And he let her go. And then it's so interesting to me when I see women like cry when they get eliminated. I'm like, is it the embarrassment? Is it the hope that you were going to meet someone? I don't know, but I just am so curious. Like, I would like to just ask, like, what emotions what are you feeling? Because why is this doing this to you? I don't get it. That's just me though, because I'm a thug. I forgot to tell y'all that.
No, you said you mentioned it earlier.
I know.
I think we're both thugs.
I was like, what you crying for?
Like, you knew this.
Like, what's the problem? That's the part of the show, is elimination.
And maybe they want them to have emotions. We don't know.
Obviously. That's why I ain't on there.
So predictions for next week. Who's getting eliminated?
So next week they're gonna go introduce the guys to their friends. The women will be in power. And Zadia and Cecilia gets into a little tiff or whatever. When she said, I need people to start shrinking. And Zadia said, I ain't shrinking nowhere. I'm gonna shrink when I feel like I want to shrink. And I'm like, I said, what? They had got into a little something. She's like, boo-boo, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. That was funny. Basically, the guys are gonna get pressed by some of the ladies' friends and stuff. And so it really is gonna be determined by how they act on these friend dates. I think Sean will probably get eliminated.
Oh, yeah. I saw a clip.
What was the clip?
Sean.
With him, with the friends?
Yeah, they asked him
She's like, you running game is what I think you're doing.
Yeah, but she mentioned a question about, are you ready? He's like, I can handle a bill or two.
I can pay a bill or two.
Sir, you don't need a child.
So I'm trying to figure out that is facts. And I don't even know what the context of that is going to be as far as like, I don't know if they're talking about paying her bills, but just in general, let's say family.
Yes.
What are we saying? Like, you don't have money?
And someone brought that up. Was it Aisha? I was on an episode, either Aisha. I think she said they asked him, what did he do?
Oh, yeah.
And he never really
he didn't have a good answer for what his job was. So we'll see. I think it's going to be Sean. I don't think he has any connections there.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Cecilia might save him. Because that might be
one person, and I don't know.
She might try to save him. We'll see. Yeah, I think who else is there?
We got
Yeah,
Dante.
I'm feeling nah, Dante gonna stick around because
he has connections.
He has connections, and yeah. I think that for sure though, my prediction is definitely gonna be that Sean is gonna be
I agree.
He doesn't have enough relationships with the guys and the girls in order to like stay. And I don't think Cecilia has enough juice to keep him. So as opposed to one of the other guys leaving, because I think it'll start getting real sticky after he leaves.
This is when it's gonna get real juicy.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like, wait, which guy? Because they might really start fighting for the guys, at some point because they're building connection every week with these other dudes. So the more that they build connections with other people, they're gonna be wanting to fight for them to stay.
I definitely think Naeem is safe. Phil is safe. Walter is somewhat safe.
Walter's safe. I think Walter's safe. He has enough connections.
And so then it's Frank and Dante and Cornelius. Cornelius
might get out of here because Camille is his only one. So they
can be eliminated together.
Yeah,
y'all both happily ever after
and be done. Y'all go deal with that abuse. But yeah, anywho, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you are subscribed. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so we would love your support and your help in doing that. And yeah, we will see y'all next week for episode 7.